my name is Emi Tanaka, and today we'll be discussing my direct service learning experience with Access Surf. Access Surf is a nonprofit organization based in Hawaii, and their mission is to provide life-changing water programs for people with disabilities. Some of the programs that I participated with were the Day at the Beach and swim clinics. My volunteer roles when I participated in these events were setup and breakdown, check-in, equipment, and surveyor. For setup and breakdown, I would come in early and stay late put to help set up equipment and tents, and then at the end we'd put them all back into the trucks. For check-in, I would help check in both participants and volunteers, giving them the right bracelet that they needed to be identified by. Participants were blue, while volunteers were either yellow or red. Yellow meant that they come around multiple times or they're not necessarily new to the event, while red meant that this was their first time ever volunteering. And for equipment, I would help sign in, or rather check out, equipment that people were using, such as their shirt, which could be the participant shirt or any of the volunteer shirts, or any other equipment such as booties or tabbies and life jackets. And at the swim clinic, I participated as a surveyor, so I would help survey both participants and swim instructors. In some cases, I would actually read out the question and as they would respond, I would type it for them. Some lesson and values that I learned was to have an increased awareness and patience, keeping in mind how I spoke, what type of tone, voice I used, and also keeping in mind my interactions I had with both participants and volunteers. I had to make sure that I was being very mindful of whether participants wanted to be touched or if they wanted help or assistance. So, for example, when I was doing check-in, I had to ask for permission first if I could tie the rubber band on their wrist or if they wanted someone else to help them. Something else I learned, which kind of goes hand in hand together, is change perspectives with ability and adaptability. And I also learned that limitations are not defined by disabilities. Basically, this all just means that with the proper adaptations made, anyone can swim or surf. People are not limited by their disability. Rather, with the right adaptations, they can do anything and everything. Basically, being that they can be highly adaptable and capable of anything they can dream of or succeed in. A meaningful experience I had at my time with Access Surf specifically happened at a swim clinic. This occurred when I was surveying a mother of her participant. Her son was very young. I want to say maybe 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly. And he loved the water and swimming. When I first saw him, he was in a little wagon. And as soon as his mom picked him up, he was so excited to get in the water that she had to constantly remind him, like, oh, it's not your turn yet. I could tell that he really liked swimming, and he also wore a Spider-Man swimsuit. So when I complimented her son on the Spider-Man swimsuit, I kind of made a connection with her. And when I was discussing with her during the survey, she said that she felt a relief and joy in finding a safe space with Access Surf, finding a space where her son can participate in swimming and make sure that he is able to adequately swim and have the right instructors that understand the disabilities he may have. My takeaway from this experience is that it's really important to build bonds with families and students. And the way I kind of identified this is that every time the swim instructor would meet with the participant, they would ask questions or try form connections with them. And I thought that was really amazing. And I really hope that I can do that in my future classroom. Some accessibility insights I saw from Access Surf were that they utilize tarps or floorings, specifically at the Day at the Beach, and they do this because the ground is uneven and it helps make it more wheelchair accessible. And I also noticed that they try to have a lot of open space and they tend to label many different areas that they have, or at least have it more where there always are people around so they can ask questions. And from these accessibility insights, I want to I hope to implement a clear floor space in my future classroom and also create personalized learning methods. So basically, this means that I want to get to know the students and create, and by getting to know them, I want to create I want to create plans specifically for them and making sure that, they understand what's going on. For communication and empathy, a goal for my classroom is that I want to have strong, open communication with families. I want to celebrate student success with parents, and I also want to build trust and emotional connection. Going back to Access Surf, I really like the fact that they had collaboration and inclusion. Those are key values that they highlighted a lot. It was important to collaborate with both the volunteers, participants, and staff. You're always going to be communicating with them. And even if you felt like you weren't necessarily being any quote unquote help, they would always emphasize that they are grateful for us being here. And just by being here, we're making it more accessible and much more easier to take on the huge day and activities. When being at Access Surf, everyone was supportive and respectful, and my takeaway is that inclusive environments require teamwork and flexibility. For my final reflections, the overall experience with Access Surf was very eye opening and inspiring, and it taught me key values of inclusion, empathy, and adaptability. And I hope to carry these lessons into my future teaching. And thank you for listening.